Hey everyone, welcome to The Productive Dev. My name is Alyssa. In today's video, we're going to talk about how you can automate your macOS settings. So this includes things like dock behavior, screenshot location, Finder preferences, and more. I'm going to be focusing on a subset of the things that you can automate, but I'll provide a link to a reference that will allow you to see all the different features that you can automate because it's pretty vast. This video is sort of part of a series that I'm doing on just Mac automation in general. If you're interested in automating the installation of Mac applications, you can check out this video that I link here or in the description below, where I walk through installing Homebrew and using it to install apps automatically. Today specifically, though, we're going to be talking about macOS settings. So the kind of set it and forget it stuff that you don't really think about until you get a new computer and everything just feels kind of off. And most people don't realize you can automate these settings because Apple doesn't really document this publicly. So I first discovered that it was even possible to automate your macOS settings while I was refining my own dotfiles management. I noticed this strange syntax in other people's dotfile setups, and after some digging, I learned about a built-in tool called defaults. And defaults lets you write directly to and read directly from macOS's preference system. And this is the same system that system settings uses behind the scenes. So like when you open up your system settings and viewing the UI, this is what it uses behind the scenes. And for some, I don't know how I stumbled upon it, but I found this website called macOS defaults that lists a ton of the options that you can set with this defaults syntax. And I'll link to it in the description below in case you want to reference it. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go through some examples here and show you how you can manually run these commands, and then I'll show you how you can automate it in a script. Okay, so the first example I want to show is how you can work with automating your dock. So if you notice here in the macOS defaults webpage, it categorizes these things really well. So it has the dock section, screenshots, Safari, etc. But I want to show you how you can auto-hide your dock. And so here I clicked on the auto-hide section, and then it gives us the list of commands. If you notice here, there's kind of this default write, and there's this default read kind of syntax. So read means, hey, what's the current setting right now? And then write allows you to modify the setting. So if we look, let me go ahead and copy the read setting, and I'm going to go to warp here, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. And this outputs 1. So 1 is truthy, indicating that my dock is set to auto hide by default. And if we notice here on my page, if I go ahead and scroll down to the bottom here, yeah, so the dock is only showing when I kind of hover over and trying to interact with things, right? But let's say I wanted to change that. So what I could do here is go ahead and make it so that auto hide is actually false. And this is actually how I typically like my settings. Currently right now, I'm running in a separate profile that I use for these YouTube videos so that I don't kind of mess up my own settings. So let's say I want to go ahead and change it to match my personal settings. So now what I can do is I can go ahead and open up Warp. And then what I'm going to do is run this command here. And what this is saying is set auto hide bool to false. And then this kill all dock. A lot of times when you're running these commands, you need to restart the thing it's interacting with. So it will kill the dock and then you can bring it back. And actually, before I do this, I want to actually show you the current desktop and dock settings. So as you can see right here, currently it's set to be toggled on. So auto hide is happening, which I just showed you. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, like I said, run this in Warp. And then this should make it so that auto hide is false. So now if you notice, my dock is always showing here. And if I was to go ahead and do that read command that I ran earlier, notice that it's set to 0, which is false. And if I go ahead and open up my dock, this is not reflected automatically. So I'm going to have to actually close it, reopen it, desktop and dock. And now notice that the automatically hide and show the dock is toggled off. So that's just proof that, okay, I ran this command and it goes ahead and updates it in its settings. So yes, you can go and, manually go into your settings and do this, but I want to show you kind of the CLI way. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you that you can automate while we're still in this dock category, and I'm going to stick in this category because, the dock is very visual and it's very easy to see the changes. I want to actually show you how you can change the position of your dock using this default syntax. So here, if we go ahead and click on the position documentation, notice that it gives us what the different options are. So we can set it to left, we can set it to bottom. It lets us know that this is the default value. As we can see here, my dock is showing at the bottom. You can set it to right. And it gives you the read position as well. So let's just go ahead and let me copy this. And I'm going to go to Warp. And I'm just going to do that. And you can see that it's set to bottom, the position. And if I also go into my system settings, go to desktop and dock, notice that the position on screen is bottom. So again, that's the default, so not too surprising there. But let's say for some reason I wanted to go and set my dock to be on the right. I actually personally like it on the left, but for demo purposes, I'm going to show it on the right. And so I would just copy the command there, do this, click it, and then now it'll close and open dock. And if you notice, now the dock is on the right-hand side, which is pretty cool. So now that I've shown you these two examples, I want to show you how we can add some of these things to a script and automate this process. Running these default commands one by one is no better than just going into the UI and the settings and changing it yourself. So I actually want to go to my blog post here. I'll provide a link to this in the description if I didn't mention that already. But in my dotfiles repo, I actually have a macsettings.sh script. And this code that I have here is actually a sample from that. But in this script file, all I do is just outline all the settings that I like to have based on what I could find in the macOS default site. And so what I want to do here now is show you kind of how I would run that behind the scenes. So let me actually go. So I've actually gone into Visual Studio Code. I've created this macsettings.sh, and I have these echo statements outlining when each thing is taking place. What I want to do now is go into the terminal and then run the script, and then you can see the output as it's running the commands. Let me actually go to warp here. Let me do /macsettings.sh to run it. And okay, that was really fast. So it said dock settings, screen capture settings, text edit settings. So, but you notice, okay, the dock is still on the left. And if we look at my settings here, notice that it has the dock to be on the left-hand side, auto hide to be false, all those kinds of things. But if you remember, the dock needs to be kind of restarted. So if I just go open the terminal here, I think it's just kill all dock. And now you will see that, yeah, the dock will display on this side. There's some other things like screenshot settings. So now it has created this desktop screenshots folder. So let me go ahead and just run a screenshot, for example, doing that. Go here, click done. Now if I actually go to my desktop, let me open up Finder here, go to my desktop, you notice that we have the screenshots folder here, and then there's a screenshot, and this is all configured through here. See, so make directory -p, desktop screenshots, and then it saves it there. I hope you found these examples to be helpful and you're kind of getting some ideas of how you can automate Mac settings yourself. I found this to be really great so that whenever I get a new Mac, I just know that this can run and things can just feel nice and at home and not off. I'd love to know how you are automating your Mac setup. Had you heard of defaults before? I know I didn't until I started, going down this rabbit hole, but I'd love to learn from you guys and how you guys are automating things. If you found this video valuable, I would appreciate a like. And if you like more productivity dev tips like this, please consider subscribing. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll catch you in the next video.